Art in Global Health is a project that we were commissioned to be part of, which is a project commissioned by the Wellcome Collection.
So we applied and asked for the opportunity to kind of investigate the relationship between the community in Kilifi and the researchers based at KEMRI in Kilifi, and to find out the relationship dynamics and how the interactions are affected. And by what?
So we came down to Kilifi and spoke to different people to understand what is it that KEMRI is doing in the community and what it is like for the community. So through the community liaison officers, who are officers working at KEMRI, they were able to tell us what is it that they do. They were able to connect us with the public and the community around here.
So we went out to do a couple of interviews with community representatives who work in KEMRI and community leaders and opinion leaders, as well as scientists and social scientists and people involved in the interface between community and research.
And obviously our focus was very much medical research. And through that, we were able to identify 5 key areas that kept coming up as sort of influential areas into what health research is. Now, these areas were education, both for the community members, the people being researched, the researchers themselves, and the society in general, the structure of education anywhere, you know. The second thing was money and power. The research institution here is perceived to have a lot of money. Maybe a lot of money for community members here, but on the other hand, it's probably just enough to do what it is that they need to do to execute their job as researchers. Now, but we also realize that that kind of level of access to money and power is very different from the general population's sort of financial or economic levels. And that affects how people perceive the institution as a research institution. The third thing was context. Now, we're in Kilifi, in a very specific geographical area in Kenya, and there's certainly a couple of things that are quite unique to this region. And you know, the practices of the people, the environment, you know, their past and traditions, all these are things that influence how they perceive new ways of approaching health. The fourth one is exploration, the nature of exploration and the idea that one is willing just to explore something that may not be the usual thing that they do, is also quite influential in how health research or any research is done. One must be willing to explore a little bit and just figure out what is there. And also, you know, for the community people here, how curious are they about what health research is? How curious are they about what happens, you know, in the labs there, you know? So that is a factor that is very influential. Now the fifth one, which is very strong, is belief. Everyone has sort of believes in something or has some kind of way of approaching their environment, themselves, the nature, and other people. So belief also influences a lot of people. Now, belief takes many forms. Some of it could be religious beliefs, some of it could be very personal. So, but it hugely influences how one approaches or how one thinks about research, especially because research is not something that has very immediate outputs. We identified these codes, lab codes, which are used by a lot of scientists and a lot of researchers, and no doubt in other areas, not just health research. And we introduced elements that speak about these 5 key areas that we spoke about. For example, this one, you see it's got quite a bit of gold, which is a key sort of indication of wealth, you know, or affluence, financial affluence, you know, and others that have other different elements. And we wanted to explore how do we speak about these elements in an artistic way and still connect it with science or research or, you know, health research. So we created Picha. It's Swahili, you know, get a picture, you know, because it's the language itself is used all over Kenya, but here in the coast specifically, a lot of people prefer to use Swahili as a language. And it's also a very catchy, quick phrase that is quite easy to grasp. Get a picture. So when we came up with the phrase, the next thing we needed to do was to, okay, how are we going to publicize this event, you know, within this area? So we looked at one of the kangas, one of the shukas that we had bought for, for all these garments. And we took the design from one of the kangas and made sort of a framework. Within that framework, then we created the text and made flyers out of that. But also flyers we thought are not enough. We need to capture other people's attention. So the next thing we did is we had banners made right in Kilifi. The other thing that was really effective, we made these sort of silhouette cutouts of characters. So it's really a blockboard cut into a silhouette of form of a person, and we painted it black and white, and the white section is just the lab coat. And we placed this, I would call them banners or silhouettes in specific areas, corner areas, to direct people how to get to where we are. And there's lots of people who have come just because they have seen those, and they've gone to them, read what it's about, and then they've come searching for this area. So they sort of are indicative of a person walking towards where the studio is.
We had the idea of creating a studio space, a more traditional studio space from a long time ago, utilizing lab coats that is kind of a scientific representation of what we saw a lot of in Kemri, and then placing these 5 main parts within the photo studio and inviting people to come and engage and ask questions and take a picture once they understood what our research was about and these 5 different components. We designed the shape of the photo studio already. It was just a matter of dealing with the space in terms of the width, and then we came in and built it and got the advertisement out and started having people come in.
Alafu nitapata picha ya kwenda nayo pia.
Sasa hivi kama hivi. Utafiti pia watu waweze kuelewa pengine utafiti ni nini.
Basi nitakuwa na publication au kuna website, nitaziweka kwenye website, kuna story behind it. Naweza angalia kujifanya naangalia ndio. Mimi niko tayari.
Uko tayari eh?
Tayari.
Moja, mbili.
Kuna kitu huko ndani.
Mtu aliwacha.
Nifurahisha. Sijachukua picha miaka nyingi sana.
Studio eh? Sisi watu wachukue. Ndio maana tunasema waje tu kuosha watu. Kama watu
Nimefurahi sana, asanteni. Maswali zenu.
benefits ya hii project sisi tumejaribu kujifunza fulani kiwewe cha kusaidia.
So your aim is to get the views za wananchi na kuelekea wao.
That is one of the views. Lakini pia sisi pia present artistic ideas to the public.
Ndio mashine ya photography na science.
In fact hata scientists wenyewe walikuwa na but science and art are 2 separate worlds. And it's possible to mix.
What's the end, the ultimate goal? What do you want to achieve with this?
You know, research is not something that has immediate outcome. It's purely an experiment, get people to interact.
Thank you, creating awareness.
You could say that, yes.
Like you said,
Yeah.
kuna data utachukua and you get information from that. How will it help you? What impact will you create in the society?
What we hope to do is to create some kind of media publication.
It's very interesting how many people ask a lot of questions, rightfully so. I think the response was high. I thought we had a good flow of people for the short time that's there, and generally quite positive and curious about what it is that we're doing. The community in Kilifi follow the kind of the posters and how to get here and actually read the information and take time out to read. I think in big cities people don't read as much or take that much time out of their usual routine.
So this interaction that we had here with the people, anyone who came, was important not just because of the project itself or the health research or art in global health as a bigger project, but also for the conversations that we had that flow beyond that specific area of interest.
Vijana wamesoma wengi hawana kazi na hawana sasa ile mali pengine watawekwa mahali wao ofisi ili wasitumie yale madarasa. Sasa mtu akisoma kama hana pesa ya kwenda kuendelea warudi bali kufuta bangi, wengine wanaenda kuvua samaki. Sasa samaki itapeleka mtu na mtu amefika form 4 tampeleka hapo mwingine anaenda kufuta bangi na mtu wa form 4. Sasa anaoa akioa, sasa ule bibi ndiye atamtafutia yeye akula.
So speaking about what creativity means, speaking about how to grow oneself, how to develop oneself as a creative person or as an artist or whatever it is that they do, sort of life skills was just as important as this project.
Sasa wakipata walimu kama nyinyi waelekeze vile mtaenda step by step.
Weka hapo.
Usipoteze hii.
Weka hapo.
Nashukuru sana.
Mimi nashukuru sana.
Karibu.
Haya, asanteni sana.
One of the highlights was that a KCR leader, Camry community representative from a long time ago, came to get their picture taken. So this is somebody we interviewed in July. We kind of texted them that this is going on, and they took the effort to come all the way down here, knowing that there's no direct benefit to them, but understanding what we're doing and being engaged and interested.
In the hope that perhaps sooner we would incorporate some kind of a discussion forum with talented people here, invite them for a one-day event or whatever it is that we might want to do, just to discuss, and maybe we talk about our own experiences, our own past, our own views as artists, what it means to be, because we've been doing this for quite a bit of time, you know. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.